the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. My name is Brian Wallace, and I am the MS Michigan Man 64. The MS Michigan Man 64 podcast is about chronic disease awareness. I have had multiple sclerosis for the last 27 years. It's an invisible chronic disease that I've been battling for half of my life. I want to share with you what it is like living with the chronic disease from my experiences and the experiences of other chronic disease warriors. We can fight to have a voice to those that want to listen. Together, we can motivate and educate. Hi, welcome back to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. Today, I am sitting down with an MSer that I made friends with about a month ago. I met Annamarie on social media, TikTok, and she was diagnosed with her MS in 2001, and she wanted to come on just to help me spread awareness about what it's like living with MS. Please welcome to the podcast, Annamarie. How you doing, Annamarie?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's still a little bit warm in Ohio, about 100 degrees, 95 degrees today, but I'm dealing with it. I'm in the AC. But Annamarie, I know that you got diagnosed with your MS in 2001, and we had a lot of good conversations about your journey, and I just think it's so interesting. Can you kind of take us through what led up to your diagnosis in '01? What kind of symptoms you were having, and what led up to them telling you that you had multiple sclerosis?
Of course. I was 16, um, woke up with literally a crooked eye, couldn't move my right eye. Um, Ended up going to a hospital here in New York called the Hospital for the Eye, Ear, and Throat. And I had extensive testing done on my eye. Was told that it was due to my brain. So I ended up going to another hospital, had a whole lot of MRIs, CAT scans, and was transferred to another hospital called the Hospital for Joint Diseases. And in that hospital also had extensive testing, um, including a spinal tap, more MRIs. I had nerve testing. And on September 11th, 2001, I was diagnosed with the MS due to the spinal tap showing my fluid obviously came out positive, and the lesions also on my brain. Um, so that was pretty much the diagnosis, was just straight the MS before they thought it was lupus. And again, the spinal tap was pretty much the winner of the tests.
Yeah, how old were you when you actually got the official diagnosis in '01, Annamarie?
I was 16.
So you were 16 years old, and I know that a lot of people, they're a lot of doctors, they're afraid to diagnose juveniles with MS. I've talked to a lot of people on a podcast, and they have said that they, were going through symptoms when they were 12, 13, 14 years old, going to doctors, and doctors were telling their parents that, we think it's MS, but we're not going to diagnose them. It's just really interesting that you actually found a doctor back when you were 16 that actually did diagnose you. And I know that it wasn't an easy path for you to get that diagnosis because you had a bunch of other doctors before that were afraid to label you at 16 years old, right?
Correct. And I believe that is why a lot of the doctors were leaning more towards the lupus, because being that the MS is not diagnosed with adolescents, especially at my age, they really didn't want to, I guess, accept the fact that there was a 16-year-old standing in front of them who actually did have MS. To me, it felt like they were ignoring what I was going through and my symptoms and really tried to force the lupus on me. But again, thankfully, with all these testings and the MRIs, and thank God for the spinal tap, because the spinal tap is pretty much what gave the final diagnosis of the MS.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you're 16, I know I was 27 when I got diagnosed, and I had no clue what MS was all about. Being a 16-year-old, what did you even understand about the it being an autoimmune disease and being neurological? Because I mean, at 16, I would not have had a clue what was going on with me.
Yeah, I was completely clueless. I was 100% afraid. I didn't understand even what the word was. I didn't understand what was going on with me. But luckily, again, with my neurologist at that time, he was very patient with me and explained what MS was. But even then, after the explanation, it scared me even more. Being that I was 16, I really just thought my life was done and I wasn't going to be able to do anything and move on with my life because here I am with this and I didn't know how it was going to affect me, being that I already had one attack on my eye. I'm here thinking I'm going to lose my eye. So it was very, very mentally straining. Um, and pretty much just kind of disrupted my life at that age.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't, I mean, I know at 27 years old what it did to my life and what, it kind of turned it upside down at 16. You're just still trying to figure things out. You're going to school. Um, how did,
Right.
how did that, I mean, did they get you on a DMT at 16 years old? I mean, I don't even understand how they treat juveniles if they do give you that diagnosis. Is it just like an adult?
Yeah, I mean, after the diagnosis, the neurologist had myself and my parents come into his office and pretty much just go over certain medications that they had available at that time. Um, they wanted to put me on I forgot the name of the medication actually. It was a daily injection. And I really was against that because I didn't like needles. So then he brought up Avonex, and it sounded okay with everything that he explained. It was a once a week shot in my arm,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much just showed my parents how to administer the injection. And that's the one that I've stuck to. And till this day, it's worked so far.
Yeah, and I know we talked about the Avonex because that was my first DMT, and I only made it a month on that drug just because of the side effects it gave me. It, gave me the flu-like symptoms, and we were talking yesterday about how you put up with those symptoms for 2 years until they went away, and
Yes.
I was just blown away. I'm like, I couldn't even make it a month, and you did that for 2 years.
I did. I think I was just scared. I was scared that doing an injection and every single day injection was just something that I was genuinely against. And luckily my parents stood behind me because at 16 I had no say. They were pretty much the ones that could say, you have to take this.
Mm.
But they worked with me and I chose the Avonex. And even though it made me sick as a dog, I passed through it and till this day, I'm 24 years in and I'm doing okay with it. I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I mean, you got that attitude right off the rip when you were 16 years old. I know from talking to you yesterday, we had such an awesome conversation, and I want you to get into the relationship part of it because I think that's just so badass the way your mom handled it. Because I know that when I was 27 years old, I was already engaged, so I already went through the dating thing. But I know when you have a chronic disease, I mean that's a life changer. And to go through dating at 16 years old, 17 years old, and being and telling these guys that are coming over to your house that you have MS, I couldn't even imagine how that went. Can you just talk a little bit about your relationships at that young of an age?
Of course. So, I would have if I had a date, the gentleman would come to my house and my mother she would pull them in and she actually would print out paperwork on MS and what it was and how it affects the person and she would literally sit the gentleman down and explain everything to them and say, so if you want to date my daughter, you're going to date my daughter, but she also is a sick person. This is what it is. This is her symptoms. You have to watch out for that. I mean, she schooled them.
Mhm.
I mean, completely to the point where there's times that I didn't even have time to go on the date because my mother pretty much was being a teacher to this gentleman.
That's so awesome, though. And that's the mom. I mean, because she's protecting her daughter, and she wants people to understand. Hey, I want my daughter to have a normal life. I want them to have a normal relationship, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. But I want the whoever's going to be associated in my daughter's circle to understand that they have a chronic condition. I just think that's awesome that your mom did that for you.
Yeah, she was my coach through my MS. Like she taught me so much because if it wasn't for her, because honestly, I was so scared to even know what MS was and what it did. So, with my mom, she was able to explain everything to me and she made it to the point where you're going to be okay. You're fine. It's you just got to keep living life, pushing forward, stay strong and take care of yourself. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would be as strong as I am today.
Yeah, and I kind of piggybacked with you with that. Um, I used my mom as a form of strength too in my fight with this disease because I saw my mom. I was 15 years old when my dad died, and I saw my mom. She just stood up and she just pushed on through life.
Yeah,
She didn't let that stop her, and I watched that. I watched her how strong she was, and when I got diagnosed with my MS, I kind of I used her of what she taught me at a young age. No matter what pops up with at you in life, you got to keep on going. You got to find something that motivates you to keep on pushing through. And it just sounds like that's what your mom gave you is that motivation
absolutely.
to keep on fighting. I love that.
Yeah, she did. She really did. She was my everything. My mom was my life. And again, if it wasn't for her, I live my life every day as she would want me to live it. And that is to be a strong woman, push forward, and don't let anything block me. And that's what I do every day. That's how I wake up every day with that mentality. Like you have to get up, push forward, do what you have to do, and live your normal life. Because if I don't think like that, then it's gonna bring me down. And I'm not that type of person.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Anna Maria. So your mom is basically, making sure that all the guys that are coming over and wanting to go out on dates with you are there for the right reason and they understand everything. But I mean, so tell me, like, when you did go out on dates and you did have a relationship, you did date somebody for maybe a few months or a year. How did they understand the disease, like within that relationship? I mean, did they understand that you had good days, bad days? Did they understand the
Yes.
DMTs?
Yes. So when I did date somebody for for some time or whatever the case was, I always made sure to tell them, listen, I take my medication on Friday, so I'm literally not available from Friday to Sunday because I already knew what I was going to feel with my flu-like symptoms, the body aches, the fever. I would tell them I'm out of commission for the whole weekends. So if you don't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you, but this is how it has to be because this is how I'm going to feel. I already know what I'm going to go through and I can't be bothered for those 3 days. And for the most part, I dated good people and they understood that very well. So they went along with what I had to deal with and my situation. So I really never had a problem with any of that type of issues with men, with my dating history, nothing like that. They all understood. They were very supportive. And yeah, so that was pretty much it. And luckily I found my Prince Charming and he's my new little life coach now.
I know it. I know it. Yeah, you found an awesome dude. I know we had an awesome conversation about your relationship now, and he sounds like such an awesome guy that just understands. He gets it. And we can talk a lot how you met him because I know that's a story in itself on how you guys met. And
Oh yes.
yeah,
We met actually online. By chance. It was me just kind of I had just came out of a 11-year relationship and I stayed by myself for about a year just to gather myself back up. And I was just kind of goofing around one day and I downloaded this app and went on it and here comes this message from this handsome gentleman and kind of just started talking for about a month on the phone and texting, and then we finally met up in person, and it's literally since that day, June 10th, 2017, we have been stuck at the hip.
That is just so awesome. And that's another thing that I tell people that, when I went through a divorce after 15 years of marriage and I went into the dating world and I was kind of scared. I'm like sitting here going, I got 15 years in 16 years of MS. How am I even going to find anybody that even understands this disease, that even wants to
Yes.
deal with this disease? And I know that that is a struggle in itself. It's a mental struggle. I went through it, and I actually found my wife online too. I mean, we were on that one website, Match.com, and I took a chance, and we met, and I told her that I had MS right off the rip, and she kind of like looked at me and said, I don't care, and that was like a huge like relief in my mind that somebody actually said they didn't care, because I actually went out on a couple dates where they did care, and that's a hard thing, and that's a hard struggle that people don't understand that we have to go through. It's hard finding somebody that wants to be with somebody that has a chronic disease, but they are out there.
Right. It is. It's and my mother, she did the same thing to my husband. She sat him down, and the only thing that worried me was there is an age difference between him and I. I'm 9 years older than him. So being that he was young, obviously younger than me, he was 22 going on 23 at the time. I was genuinely afraid that he would just get up and run away, being that I had, he was being told that I have a disease for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
But he told my mother, he goes, I don't care. He goes, I love her.
Yeah.
I love her and she's the one. And I don't, if I have to deal with what I have to deal with her illness, then I deal with it, because he genuinely, the man genuinely, he's a good man, beautiful heart, and he loves me for me.
Did he have any previous knowledge with MS, like a previous experience, or
None.
did he just learn this all on the fly with you?
Yes, he had absolutely. When my mother explained, when she said the whole word multiple sclerosis, he kind of just like, he looked dumb, like dumbfounded, I should say. He just kind of tilted his head and, what is that? And here she comes with her paperwork, and she read everything with him, and um, so his question was, will she pass away from this?
Mm,
And that was probably the hardest thing I've ever heard somebody ask, um, because here now I'm starting to think, I'm like, oh my God, like, uh, is it possible? But it's not. It is and it's not. I mean, I think it depends more on the person, how we take care of ourselves.
mhm.
Um, but that kind of scared him a little bit. It scared me. But once he got to learn what MS really, really is, and what it affects you, and how it makes you feel, he calmed down, and again, he's very supportive, and he treats me like a normal person. I don't like to be treated like I'm sick. I don't like that. And he definitely doesn't do that. He treats me like a normal person, and he knows that I can do everything that he can do. And so I'm very lucky. I'm a very lucky woman.
And that is so important. When you just said that, and it just it put a smile on my face, because you said he makes you feel like a normal person, and and and,
Yes.
and that's what we want. That's what we want, to be treated like we're normal. And the sad thing is that we're not a lot. I mean, we're treated a lot of times by spouses or by family members like we're damaged. Like
Yeah.
they don't want to be around us, or we lose friendships because we have fatigue and we don't want to go out, and people think we're antisocial. And it makes me feel good just to knowing that somebody is treating me normal. Hey,
Right.
I'm still Brian before MS, but I just do things a little bit slower now, and just for people to understand that, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, I lost a best friend over my diagnosis. We were friends from elementary school, and she thought that I was contagious. She knew that I couldn't do things anymore that she'd like to do, as far as like going out and partying and going here and going there. I told her, I said, listen, I get tired very easily, and I need to relax. And sit down and here and there. And I don't drink alcohol. I don't do any type of drugs, and that was her life at that time. But that was the party scene for her. And I wasn't for it. And unfortunately, I lost that friendship over it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay for me because I have a best friend now, and we've known each other even longer than 15 years. And she understands me. When we go out and I say, "Hey, Christine, I'm tired. I need to relax." She'll go. She'll get me a bottle of water. She'll sit with me. She'll rub my back. So that's the type of people I want in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I try telling people, you gotta you gotta customize your circle of friends, and the people you're gonna understand real quick on the ones that are for you and the ones that are
Yes,
really true to you. You'll be able to pick them people out, and those are the people that you want in your circle. And I have a very tight circle, I mean, I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to anybody in the world, but I don't give people the same trust that I do with the people that are in my tight circle, the ones that I know that are going to be there when I really, really need them.
right. Exactly. Exactly. And my neighbor next door, the lady that I went out with to the beach yesterday, she understands what I have. And, like I said, she bought a tent out for me so that I can sit under it so I wasn't directly in the sun. She was constantly checking on me. And I like that. I like that people are aware of what I have, and they they treat me not normal, not unnormal, but they treat me like I'm a human being, but they check up on me. Hey, how are you doing today? Or,
Yeah.
she texts me every morning. Good morning. How are you feeling today? I love that.
Yeah. You
That
know,
makes me feel so good.
it does. I mean, it's something simple like that, just a simple text, just to let them know that they're thinking about you. I mean, it means a lot. And that's the one thing that I was going to get in with you about community and how important it is to find that community and find those people that understand. I know we met on TikTok, and it was like an instant. We instantly connected.
Right.
We're sitting in a live, and you got MS, I got MS, and we're sitting there talking. I mean, it's an instant connection, and those are
It
the
is.
those are the people that you have to find, and it's a community, and it's a strong community too. I mean, we understand each other, and it's so important to have people that understand it.
Right. And that's why I am so happy that I was able to find the MS community and other people with MS on TikTok, because I have never been able to sit and talk about MS the way that I have with the community. And it makes me feel so good. And so actually, it makes me feel proud because I'm like, okay, there's others out there who have what I have. Obviously, we all go through different symptoms and we feel different every day, but it's such a relief for me to be able to say, you know what, if I have a question or anything, I can just go on this my TikTok and find my friends that with the MS and say, hey, have you ever had this type of feeling? Or, what is this? And what do I do? I love this. I am so genuinely excited and happy that I have friends now that have MS like me.
Hmm. Yeah, and
It's
yeah,
it's such a I love it.
yeah, and the cool thing about it is that we're all over the world, and it doesn't matter if we're in New York or Ohio or California or United States or Canada or the UK. I mean, we all get it. We all understand each other. That community is just so strong, and I love it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, right. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing, and I am so happy that I was able to find everybody that I have been able to speak to, and it's a relief. It's a happy thing for me to wake up in the morning and say, let me go on TikTok, let me talk to my MS friends and see how they're doing today, and are they feeling what I'm feeling today? It's just it's such a relief for me. It really truly is.
and the thing that I like about it is that we celebrate wins and even like the bad moments. We're there for each other.
Right.
If somebody has an accomplishment that they did, they did something, they did an MS walk or they did whatever they did, and they come on and tell us, and we're just sitting there like, yeah, that's badass, man. I always tell people the mental part of this disease is the hardest part. The physical part
Yeah.
sucks. The physical part sucks. Losing the ability to walk, if it happens, that sucks. Having to use a wheelchair, having to use a walker, whatever, all that sucks. But the mental part is the hardest part. And if you can take care of your mental health, you're going to be a lot better with this disease. And having that community and having those relationships of people that understand what you're going through is just so important.
Right. Absolutely. It is. It's just like I said, I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it. I mean, just you yourself and then with Jeff and Lauren. I mean, Lauren, she's a trip with me. I love her so much. She's amazing.
Mm,
And to know that she's all the way in London.
right,
And it's just, I wonder sometimes like in all over because obviously MS is global, do they have the same treatments that we go through that we have here in the States? And,
right.
what is the different things that they go through in different parts of the country? I always think about that. That's my thing. I'm always like, I wonder, do they have the same medications?
Right.
Do they have the same treatments? It's just I think about so much with that because again, it is global and it's not just here in the States.
No, it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. It doesn't matter where you live. This disease is everywhere. I just think it's so important for us to just come together globally, just to talk about this disease and to spread the awareness about what it's like living with this disease because it sucks in the United States. It sucks in the UK. It sucks everywhere and just to hear
Yeah,
everybody's experiences, just to hear about how over in the UK it takes like 12 months sometimes to get in to see a doctor. And it's just mind blowing the different experiences that people have all over the world with this disease.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I was mentioning to you yesterday, I met a young lady from California and she's newly diagnosed since March, but the way they make it seem with her is they're not absolutely 100% sure that it is MS. So she's kind of up in the air. I mean, they're telling her, 90% yes, you have MS, but then there's that 10% thing that they're like, we're not absolutely sure yet.
Right. And then
And
in the
that's
me
got to be horrible.
it is. And in the meantime, you got the patient sitting there in limbo for, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years while these doctors are trying to figure it out. But in the meantime, they're still going through their symptoms and they're still feeling like shit. And I know that that is a
Right.
scary, scary feeling. I've been there. I've done that. And that's why I did this. I started this podcast is just to start talking about this stuff because I don't want people to have that feeling, that scared feeling that I went through when I was 27 years old. And just talking about this disease, I think helps because this wasn't around back in 1997. People didn't talk about this
Right.
disease, you know?
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's like I said, it's MS is like I was told when we first went to the hospital. I mean, the first thing they told my parents, which scared the hell out of them, was that I possibly had a brain tumor. I mean, I don't think doctors should actually come and say these type of things if you're not absolutely sure. I mean, you're telling a 16-year-old girl's parents, "Hey, listen, she might have a brain tumor."
Right.
My parents flipped out. They were hysterical. They're like, "Oh my God, like what do we do next?" And that's when they started sending me to different hospitals. But as for me, I mean, I could imagine what my parents were going through and what they were feeling like. But what about me? What was I thinking? And all the fear that went through my head and oh my God, am I going to die? And it was a stressful, stressful thing to deal with at that time.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the part that I just think people don't understand is the mental battle. They look at us and we look normal. Like a person can look at me and they look at me and they're like, oh, that guy looks pretty healthy to me. But I mean, the war that's going on inside of our body, that's the part that people just don't get. They don't understand that.
Right. No, it's like that. I mean, one day I can be fine, and then the next day I'm outside walking with a limp, and they're like, "Oh, what happened? Did you twist your ankle? Did you sleep wrong?" No, I have MS. This is what happens. I sometimes may have a limp in my leg because I'm feeling a little numbness, or my hands, I can't hold things for certain times because my hands are weak. And people are already judging, oh, what happened? Did you hit something? Did you bang on something? No, I have MS. This is what it is. This is how it is for me. It's unpredictable. I don't know how I'm going to wake up the following day. It's just, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell everybody, when I was working, and you know how like a general question you ask somebody, hey, how you doing today? Everybody would ask me how I'm doing, and my general response would be, hey, it's a great day. I got out of bed. And a lot of people would look at me like with a really puzzled look. Why are you why is that a great day? You got out of bed. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, you have no idea. I got out of bed. I have MS. That's a good thing. I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
I got out of freaking bed today.
Right. Yep. Every day that we can get up and walk and do our normal tasks, it's an accomplishment for us.
Yeah.
It really is because, and even with sometimes with my memory, I mean, I can be having a conversation with somebody and then all of a sudden I have brain fog
Mhm.
and I'm just like, wait, what were we talking about? And they look at me and I'm like, it's my MS. Like it just happened. It's not something that we're waiting for. It just pops up.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable. That's
Yeah, and I know we were talking earlier in our conversation. And I told you, hey, while we're recording, if we have a brain fart and have an MS moment, because it happens. I mean, this is what happens with our brain. I mean, we can be in mid sentence, and then the thought just leaves our brain, and we just
right.
that's the cognitive issues, and people don't understand that. When
No.
it's just we just want to be understood, and that's why I appreciate you, Anna Marie, because you wanted to come on here and talk about your journey just to help spread this awareness. And what
Right.
would you tell people if they like to motivate you? What is your motivation? What would you tell people if they're fighting this disease and they're new into this disease and they're scared? What would you tell them to keep them motivated to keep on fighting?
So what I always say, and I've said it for years, is I don't like the statement of I have MS. I don't like that. What I like to think is MS has me. Pretty much, I'm the fighter, I'm the warrior, I'm the strong one. I'm going to beat MS. I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to be what I have to be and do what I have to do. I'm going to just be that strong person. So MS has to fight for has to fight me because I'm not fighting MS. You're going to fight me. That's how I think every day because MS is not going to win. It's not going to bring me down.
I love that. I absolutely love that attitude. You know what? You don't have MS. MS has me, and I'm just going to kick the shit out of it every day when I wake up. I love that attitude, Anna Marie. That is so
Yep.
awesome.
That's how I live every day. That's my morning when I wake up. Thank you, God, for letting me get up, letting me walk, letting me breathe. Today's another day that I'm gonna fight you. That's how I feel every day.
If anybody wants to follow you on TikTok, Anna Marie, what is your name on TikTok? So I will put that in the description of the podcast. If you want to follow
Sure.
Anna Marie, she's like, I just love her to death. I mean, she's just so inspirational on how she is fighting this disease. I would definitely recommend getting in contact with her and just being friends with her. She's awesome to talk to. But what is your handle on TikTok?
So on TikTok, it's Annamarie 516. That's how you can just look me up with the Annamarie, all one word, and then the number is 516, which is my birthday. Um, but yeah, I mean, anybody who would love to follow me, I'm here. If anybody just wants to talk or find out about my journey, or you need somebody to listen, I'm here. I'm always here. I don't mind. I love hearing the stories. I love listening, and I love helping people. That's my number one thing. I love to help people. So if I can be of any help or guidance, I'm here. So again, my name on TikTok, Annamarie 516. Just come find me and we'll talk.
I love it, Anna Marie. I just love everything that you're about. Like I said, when I met you and just some of the conversations that we've had in some of the lives, you just have the attitude, and you have to have an attitude with this disease because this disease sucks. But you can't quit on it because if you quit, this disease knows it, and that's when it's gonna take you over. And I keep on,
Right.
I keep telling people, no matter what this disease does to you, you got to keep on fighting. You got to find a reason to fight, a reason to get up in the
Yes.
morning, and a reason to keep on fighting.
Yes. I mean, we all, we have family, we have kids, we have parents. We got to do it for them too. We have to live for our families. I mean, I know I definitely push through for my husband and my dad and my girls. Like I push forward for them and they're my inspiration. Like I have to keep moving forward because it's the only way to go is forward, not backwards.
Yep, absolutely, Anna Marie. Absolutely. I want to thank you so much for coming on my podcast today, Anna Marie, just helping me spread awareness and talking about your story. I just really appreciate you so much. And I would definitely have you on again in the future if you want to come on and talk about any kind of subject just about MS on
Of course.
how we deal with it. I would love to have you back on.
Oh, definitely. No, Brian, thank you for having me and letting me share this journey with everybody. I mean, this is what you do is a great cause, and the way that you're spreading your awareness is it's amazing, and hopefully people will understand it more and more as time goes on. And I'm always here, and I would love to come back on and speak with you. I mean, I had an amazing time.
I appreciate you, Anna Marie. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it is MS Michigan Man 64. I'm on TikTok, MS Michigan Man 64. I'm also on Facebook, Brian Wallace out of Brunswick, Ohio. And definitely hit the subscribe button and share it out. Spread the awareness. We got to talk about this disease. The only way people are going to understand it is if they listen to us. You all have a great day, MS Michigan Man 64. I am out.